today. I've been on vacation, so we want to get a video out to you while I have the opportunity, and then we can catch up with you whenever possible, coming up on either the late this weekend or early next week to follow up. But we have a lot to go through. We're going to go through the SPX, SPY, the usual, VX, which is the VIX futures. Check out ES on a lower time frame. And then we're not going to do the expected move because we're not done with Friday's session. It could change on us, but I will show you where to look for that if you're new here. So before we get started, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo, and hit subscribe. Also, you can join our Patreon. There's a lot of information that we're going to go through. Even after this video, we're gonna stop for the regular members for the free part of the video, and then we'll move on to show you what we have. Since we're calling this reversal soon, we're going to show that we're putting some hedges on out to a certain date. We're going to use a couple different vehicles to do that, so that'll be for our Patreon members. So all right, let's jump into it. Okay, reversal soon. What do we have here? We're going to start with the weekly time frame. You see this massive formation, maybe a megaphone formation that we broke out of. Well, we're in a bull market. We're pushing. We're bullish all the way. What's happening? We're starting to form divergence. We're starting to slow down with a little momentum. We're well into bullish territory. So we're not really concerned about that at this point. But I do want to show you that we are on wave 5 of mini of 5s. That's not what I'm talking about here. That's on a lower time frame. We'll go over that. But on the large time frame, we are working on wave 5 of 5 here. This is the larger wave 5, and we're the lower range 5, the minor wave 5 as well. So looking at the candle, this is a weekly candle. We're having a pause week, red, a little bit red, but we're holding over all the MAs. We're holding over a rising pivot. We have a trend line. We're still bullish, even though we're talking about a reversal coming soon. It's not necessarily coming tomorrow, Monday. It's not necessarily coming next week. It could be 2 weeks. And we'll go through that in a lower time frame, but I just want you to be a little bit cautious, and we're going out to some later dates in order to put on some hedges pretty soon here. So we're getting some divergence here, some negative divergence on the RSI. We've had this going, but it's extending at this point. We're not ripping through it and breaking to the upside. So that divergence continues. All right, let's go down to the daily. Bullish on the weekly. Change our board. Trend is our friend. So we have a wave count. We're going to start over here. We have our wave 1, 2, and that's where we'll zoom in a little bit just to get this count going. We have a 1, 2, and we're getting to the end here of this is what I meant, 5 of 5 of 3. I showed you in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I showed you our super bullish scenario, our bullish scenario, and this is going to be our more conservative. Maybe our move is over for now. We're going to pull back and then move back up to all-time highs once again. So if you keep in mind this white one, this larger white 2, that's the primary wave, and up to we're thinking that wave 3 is going to be ending pretty soon here. So let's get digging just a little bit deeper with let's go in here. So we have what we considered the last 2 weeks. This was perhaps a 1, 2, 1, 2, super bullish. Or this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1, 2. Okay, that was our really bullish scenario. And now we're going to do our conservative point of view. So at the end of this wave 4, now we have our wave 1, 2, but this would be an expanding flat or expanding diagonal, excuse me. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, and now working on wave 5 of that larger, the white Roman numeral 3. And then we're talking about, this is not necessarily the spot yet, but a 3, 8, 2 pullback most likely. Could go further, but this is a good spot. The rule of alternation, let me back out. Rule of alternation says that if the wave two, we get a nice zigzag, that's a real deep correction. In this case, we'll probably get some sort of flat or some sort of triangle or sideways formation here. So to where we'll complex consolidation to where we'll move a little bit more sideways rather than a deep retracement. So I don't see us going way past all the way down to the wave one and invalidating it if we are correct. But we do see maybe a 382 pullback, but not in a zigzag formation. We'll see. We'll have to see. We'll have to watch price action. So when we have a ending diagonal, expanding diagonal, what does that say? That says that wave one has to be smaller than wave three, which wave three has to be smaller than wave five. So what did we do? We took our extension from the bottom of wave three to the top of wave three, just to give us the to the bottom of wave five. And wave five has to get to this 4461 area. It does not have to stop there, but that it has to make it to the 100% of that wave three. And we expect it to go a little bit further. So we do have a trend line that we made. It's actually a wedge. So that would be the top of the wedge that it could come up to here. And that's a really good possibility, and then break down. Or we could break above that wedge, come out, maybe come up to the 1618 area, maybe a little lower. There's a 127 as well. Come out, pop above the wedge, and break down back into the wedge. That would show a fake break and then continue to the downside. So that's the scenarios we'll be watching. Either we come up to the 100% or the top of the wedge and break down, or we can go all the way up, break out of the wedge, and break back down into it. Now, if we do not break back down into it, there is something else going on. So that's what we have to pay attention to. And it's an if and then situation. That's what trading's all about. We have to watch price action. If this happens, then we think this is going to be the scenario. If that happens, then we think that the other situation is going to be the scenario. Okay, so that's how you trade. You take the best probability of what's happening at the time, and then when we start to break down, if we start to break down, we have the wedge, we have the rising pivot along with the 100 moving average, and then we have the 38.2 along with the 200 MA as well. And then we have a big time rising pivot, which if we break down from there, I really think that something else is really going on. And we may have had 5 of 5 of 5 to where we're going to have a much lower price action, but we don't really invalidate any of that wave 4 until we get down underneath 3882 area. We'll call it 3580 area. Okay, so getting back to just the regular TA here, technical analysis. For the daily, we do not have a Marubozu candle. We're actually going to have some sort of pause candle. I'll just leave that empty. I'll just tell you some sort of pause candle. We're holding right on the 8 MA, just holding steady there. So we're bullish on all time frames, and still until we start to break down from that 8 MA and then the 20, then we really got to be cautious that the wedge support is actually right with that 50 MA. So things are just coinciding really well and making it easy for us to visualize what's happening when it does. We're holding over all MAs. Divergence is extending. Now, the reason why I'm actually choosing this scenario is because of the divergences. We could burn through those divergences to the upside. That's what we have to keep eye on. We're making a higher highs, higher low, higher high, but now we're making a lower high at this point. We cross over and we're talking confirmation on the divergence, and we'll probably start our descent at that point. Now, I do expect us to come back up just a little bit higher. So maybe we break down a little bit, come back up to make a new high, and then start heading down. but divergence is forming in the RSI as well. So we'll keep an eye on that 40 area to where it pulls back. This pullback, this next pullback, I think will come down much slower into overbought territory as a wave 4 before we actually start to head to the upside. So hit that notification button. We'll keep you updated every single week. We'll once we get back into regular routine, we'll update you every single day. All right, so we've gone through all that. Let's go on the VX. This is the VIX futures. Now the VIX futures, the caveat on this is we had a huge wedge that let me pull back out. This huge wedge that we constantly look at every single week on the weekend review. Well, we tried to break through it last week. We weren't able to. The VIX is now still, even though price action is still going to the upside, its divergence is happening here. Price is not breaking down on the VIX. So that means there's still fear out there. People are still buying hedges through the VIX, and we watch the futures. So if VIX starts to break above this triangle, this wedge, this falling wedge, and the 200 MA, now we have a real issue. Now we're talking, the price action on the overall market should be really starting to head down, because this wedge, once we break out of here, there's no telling where it will go. But I think our first main stop will be this 36 area, and I do believe we'll break above there. But this might be our scenario. We might look at the 36 area, hitting this point. That would be the end of our wave 4, pulling back to retest the wedge for and make all-time highs again. Somewhere down here, who knows, the support or whatnot, but and then going much higher for who knows how big of a correction. We'll look at that in the future, see if that's the end of our wave 5 of 5 of 5 of 5. All right, I know that sounds like a very bearish scenario, but that's what we're looking at, especially with this wedge happening and forming. Okay, we have let's go over to the SPY, just check out the volume, see what's been happening this week. Over on the daily, still holding above that 8 MA, but we are waning on the volume. Volume is decreasing. I know we're correcting right now, but we'll have to see what happens as soon as we break this range, either to the upside or to the downside. See if we get a pickup in a little bit of volume there. Same thing, divergence here, RSI and the MACD. Okay, let's go down to the ES. Let's get the 65-minute candle. Have a lot going on here. You see the expanding diagonal here in between the white lines. We have our wave 1, 2, working on wave 3, 4, and now on wave 5. So we're holding above this rising pivot at this point. We do have a channel that's going on right now. This last wave 5, if this is true that this is a expanding diagonal, this should be an X, Y, Z further up, and then we'll see. We can see where the end of the sorry, somebody's calling me there. We have some resistance, and this will probably extend. This might go for another week or two, and we have the 100% extension here. We just can't pass. We can't come underneath this 100%. We need 100% extension in order for this to be an expanding diagonal. And we could stop here. We could go a little bit further, but we'll keep monitoring that. We also have, I know there's a lot of lines in here. We could have a retest of this, this actual channel as well right here. Let me make sure that's in the right spot. Oh, let me pull that right about here. So we could have a retest of this channel that we were in previously. It's really light, but I don't expect you to see that. It's for my own notes, and then I'll explain it throughout the videos. But I do expect to see wave move up to this point, and then our correction to begin pretty soon after that. Now that's another scenario could come out. We have to watch price action. Don't bank on it, but we're going to end this for non-members. for members, stick around. We're going to go through the VXX, a couple of names, and then some of our hedges that we're doing in the future here for our pullback. So, very lucrative. If you want to see these, join our Patreon. It's just $5 a month. That's nothing to make a little bit of money. So check it out, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck. We'll see you by the end of the weekend or beginning next week.